Welcome to the Louder Tales podcast. We hope you enjoy today's show, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Here's your hosts, Rainbow and Tim.
All right, I'm Tim.
I'm Rainbow.
And we have a special guest here, Steve. Why don't you introduce yourself, Steve?
Hi, I'm Steve Straney from Brandenburg, Kentucky.
All right. How long have you been there, Steve?
My whole life.
Whole life. Have you traveled anywhere else?
Really just vacations, things like that. Never.
You got a memorable vacation?
Oh, absolutely.
What's your favorite vacation you've been to?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. That's where we were. I was stationed there 4.5 years. So what part of Hawaii did you go to? Just Oahu?
Actually, no, I've been to 4 islands.
Ooh. All right. Do you remember the names?
Well, yes, Oahu,
all right,
Maui,
yep,
Hawaii, and of course Hawaii, the big island.
Wow. It's like he copied us.
Yeah, or maybe we copied
we did the same
him.
ones. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we probably copied you. Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Some of the stuff we tried doing a recording the other week, and it just didn't work out, and we had some technical difficulties. Something with the guy that runs the equipment didn't know what he was doing, I guess. I don't know.
And just so you guys know, he said guy, not gal.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take credit for that one. Well, today is Sunday. I know this probably won't get released until Monday or later, but we go to church, and as I understand it, you go to church as well.
Absolutely.
So we had a good service today. Did you?
Yes, we did.
All right. We had it hit home today. We've been going through some trying times this past year, or last year, I should say. So the beginning of our year is going to be good. We watched the movie A Case for Christ a couple nights ago. Outstanding. And the reason we watched it, because his oldest son is there having some issues. His son's story to tell. But he said he needed to read the book. And I'm like, Tim, the movie's out. So we watched it. We cried probably 3/4 of that movie.
I just had too many eye drops.
No, sir. No, sir.
No spicy chips?
No, sir. So
She's got me.
yeah, it opened a door that obviously had closed in our lives. So I'm happy for that. And we also have an 8-year-old granddaughter who on her own has decided that she wants to go to church. And Jesus is a name in her vocabulary that she uses a lot, and not in the bad way. So we're grateful for that. So we're going to kind of go on that journey. And I'm assuming you and your family are kind of like that.
Absolutely.
Do you go to a big church or a small church?
Go to a rather large church.
Is it? Which one is it?
Actually, I go to St. Martin's in Tours in Flaherty, but today I went to St. John's in Brandenburg.
Okay. Was there a reason for the change?
That's the church my mother goes to.
Okay.
And my daughter and her children.
Okay.
Well, sounds like a lot of family members.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good.
So did the service speak to you?
Yes. Now, the Catholic Church follows a historical liturgy. So today it's Epiphany Sunday. So we talk about the wise men and how that relates. And it was a good service.
All right.
Do you remember what Pastor Josh said was the new phrase for the year?
No.
I believe it was push forward, don't fall back.
Yes, I do recall that now.
Yeah. Our pastor every year comes up with, I guess, a theme or a phrase for us to follow. And this year it is push forward, don't fall back.
He used weeds as a reference, not weed.
Yeah.
Weeds.
That's exactly
the
what
thing
he
that's
said.
in the ground that it grows up when you're trying to get tomatoes and flowers and all that stuff. I'm not very much of a green thumb. I don't know if you are. Do you grow stuff?
Absolutely.
Do you really? What do you grow?
Well, actually, I've got an apple orchard.
Ooh.
Oh.
And I make hard cider.
Oh.
And of course, we use the apples for about everything.
Yeah.
I actually make vinegar too.
Oh, okay.
And then I have just a regular vegetable.
I don't think people realize vinegar is used a lot for like cleaning. Like it's a really good cleaning agent.
Well, for your household and for your body,
Yeah.
it's vinegar is you do like a tablespoon or a teaspoon, but it's supposed to be really good for you.
And what I raise, or the vinegar that I make, still has the mother, which is the bacteria that cause the fermentation.
Oh, okay.
And so it's actually better than the distilled vinegar.
Now, when you say better, you mean better for you, better tasting,
Better
everything?
for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, when you have your next batch, let us know, definitely.
I'll give you a gallon.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
nice. Thank you.
We're trying to do the more natural, more healthy in our life for sure.
Yep.
That's exciting.
You know, oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I don't have a great thumb. I killed an aloe vera plant.
We're lucky to
came
get
back.
a cactus to stay alive. Those things are notoriously hard to kill. We managed to get what was the aloe vera? Yeah, you said that, and then
Yeah, it came back.
And yeah, that's pretty
I
much
can
it.
grow gray hair really well.
Actually, we've grown pineapples.
Oh,
Yeah, we just take the top of pineapple, cut
Yeah.
it, put them in, and we've actually got pineapples about the size of hand grenades, but they taste really good.
I
bet.
tried that.
you know, people didn't know that pineapple was actually from the ground. A lot of people think it's up in a tree.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not. No, it's on the ground. When we were in Hawaii, we used to see fields of it, and I'd tell the kids, I'm like, hey, those are pineapples, and they're like, no, it's not. Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah.
Pineapple's so
Yep. Churches are great for communities, though. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so well. And have you heard of the Nextdoor app?
I have
It's well, go ahead. Why don't you tell them?
So it's an app that I know in this community that people can, become a part of. It's a community thing. And a lot of people post lost dogs or, be careful or hey. And
Or
right
found.
now.
They'll find stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of people are like, hey, I lost a dog, and somebody else would be like, well, I found a dog, and it's not the same dog. But
Yeah, no one's found my mind yet. Still kind of waiting for that.
did you post that you lost it?
I did.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
We're good.
someone ignored me. So there's been a conversation. I imagine you're like us and you like to help people. I'll let Tim can discuss more of this because he's actually a moderator. I'm not, about the situation.
yeah. So Nextdoor being an app specifically for, it's almost community building. We've got stuff for sale. We've got stuff that, like she said, lost and found, or people looking for help, or just people saying, hey, this is available in your community. Sometimes there's a lady that's local that has food. She'll do like a food drive or a pantry or something, or someone will make a meal for people for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I've noticed, I would say overall, America's very donation. They're very giving, very thoughtful. I would say that's one of the things that makes America great is the people love to give. And there's a lot of us out there that like to try and help the next person, no matter what it is. But so the app has, all the regular postings of whatever the day brings. And somebody has been saying, hey, I need help. I'm not going to say the lady's name, but from what I understand, it's a lady with a couple of kids. She had an injury and she's, I guess, still able to work. I can't remember all the details, but she has been asking for help, and it's getting to the point where she's asking multiple times, at least multiple times a week. I don't know if she's posted multiple times a day. She's like, hey, and then she'll post a GoFundMe. I look at it as, we as a community are there to help each other. And the whole point of this app is to help each other. And if someone really does need the help and it's not a scam, and it's not my job to determine whether that's a scam, I don't know. There have been a lot of scams on GoFundMe and other apps that are meant for charities or whatever. People take advantage of people all the time. I think this is a genuine case. I think this is a lady that's really struggling, and she's trying to figure out a way that people can help her, and she just doesn't know what to do. Now, I praise her because she's asking for help, and it's hard for a lot of people to ask. And some of the people are kind of getting upset, and they're like, hey, this is over. This is spam. She's putting too many things out there, or it could be a scam. And I'm like, you know what? If it really is a scam, there's law enforcement can get involved or whatever. But I think this is something that it's hard for her to do as a person. It takes some some humility, I guess. Is that the right word? Humility to ask for help, especially for people that you see in the community. And for someone that just needs a helping hand, whether it's making a car payment, whether it's getting groceries, whatever it is, and I said the thing with a big church is a lot of bigger churches do that. Even smaller churches, what was the total amount that there's some kids there's 13 kids and 2 adults going to Guatemala on a missions trip. And they had a certain amount of money that they had to get. And they surpassed the goal today or last week. They announced it today.
Yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're a relatively small church. I mean, it's not super huge. We have, people that sing and we got musicians and there's a good message. And ever since COVID has slowed back down, people are slowly making their way back into enclosed areas. I did see one person double masking. I don't know what that was all about.
They might have been sick.
And they could have been. And it's their, if you want to wear masks still, that's up to you. I personally, I don't think I wore a mask maybe 3 times the whole entire span of everything. And it was only because they were like, you're not getting on Fort Knox unless you have a mask or whatever the case was. I remember when it first started, they tried to tell mail carriers we had to wear a mask outside. It's like,
that's
not going to help. Or it's not going to help. It's not going to happen.
I wore one for over a year at work.
There's so many people, and there's that's a whole nother thing.
A whole nother show.
Yeah, another show. But the idea behind people helping other people doesn't matter if it's a church, a big church, a small church, or if it's a next door app. What's your opinion on someone that just asks constantly for help? What do you think? Where would you draw the line if you had to say, hey, listen, this is too much?
Well, I think it depends on one thing, what they're asking for. If they're asking for help finding a job,
right?
If they're asking for help with their clothes for their kids, that's one thing.
Right.
But if they're just constantly asking for money, then I have to be a little leery.
I don't think taking down the requests is really... I can see what the other person's saying. Like if you're seeing... Every 20 minutes, she's putting up hey, this is a new GoFundMe. It's my old one got taken down or whatever the reason. I don't know. I haven't dug into it. But for the people that are saying, once every couple days is too much, I was telling my wife, I said, for the person that's complaining about how much this person is posting, have you done anything to help them? Are you going to volunteer your time or money or your effort or even just talking to the person saying, hey, how come you're asking so much? What can I do to help? And just kind of get to know that person better. And I think it's like impersonal to just say, stop that person from talking. Because that's the whole point of an app like that, Nextdoor. I mean, we're literally talking about community building.
And I agree. In a small community, that's easily done. And
right.
It's easy to check out somebody.
Yeah.
It's the the judgment too before you know.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
you don't do that as a community. And we live in an area, and I mean area just in whole. There's a lot of people who are suffering right now. And as far as the GoFundMe, our daughter, our oldest, she had to use it, when they came to Hawaii. And this is another show, maybe.
We can talk about it now.
Yeah. So our daughter came to visit in Hawaii, and she was 21 weeks pregnant, and she went into labor.
How old was she at the time?
Lindsay?
Yeah. 27?
She was 26, 26,
Yeah.
27. Yeah, she was 26.
Mid-20s.
8 kids, you lose track of their ages. So she went into labor, and she had the baby. And
let's back up a little bit. She didn't just go into labor. She was having some problems. And
she had been hurting for 4 or 5 days?
Something like that.
Yeah, she'd been hurting, and she finally went into the hospital, and she had been actually having back contractions, and it was a pretty horrible. And I actually had been in the hospital for a few days myself and told him that my daughter was coming and I needed to get out, so I was having some issues. But our daughter, she actually had Elizabeth. Elizabeth lived for 42 minutes. It was pretty tough, but because they had to stay there so long because of, everything afterwards, they had to use a GoFundMe to help with the plane tickets and the funeral, or not the funeral, but the process of the cremation so they could take her home. So there really are legit reasons why people use it. But a lot of people assume because they're getting on there, they're just wanting money. And like Tim said, ask. Ask, is there a reason? How can we help you? What is the situation? Just don't make assumptions, because it could be a situation that their soul is hurting and they're just not able at that time. And this girl might be a single mom, and if she got injured, she lost a lot of time at work. Just ask. But people, and another thing, what is it hurting these other people that these posts are going up? They're just posts. They can scroll through them.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not like it's taking up their time. It doesn't take any extra
Exactly
effort.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had some awesome stories last time that we only got to hear and nobody else did.
Yeah.
So,
we're going to do a little recall.
Yeah. Or we know you have lots of stories. So if you want to tell us a new story, that'd be awesome. I know the one thing we touched on was haunted places. People love those.
I've got a personal story.
Ooh.
And it's not really haunting, but it's paranormal or spiritual.
Yeah.
This is 23 years ago.
All right.
It was a Sunday. I'd been to church, and I have a rental property. And I decided to go down and work. I was going to clean gutters, spruce up shrubs, do some painting, try to get this place ready to rent.
Okay.
I had just gotten there, started getting my stuff set up, and this voice inside my head that it's not mine. It's not the voice you normally hear when you're thinking.
Ooh.
And it says, you need to go home.
Uh-oh.
And I'm a hard head, and I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, what is this? I'm losing my mind.
Ooh.
And so I start cleaning the gutters. And this voice comes back the second time, you need to be home.
Wow.
And again, I'm a hard head. So I'm looking around and so what is going on? And I'm still thinking there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
So
You're alone.
I'm alone.
Yeah.
I'm by myself.
Wow.
So I start another project.
Right.
And this time this voice came on and it was like pissed off.
Wow. You don't want to piss off the spirits.
It says, you need to be home.
Wow.
And I packed everything up.
Yeah.
I get home. When I walked in the door, my wife's on the phone. Her sister had been shot.
Oh.
And I needed to be home.
Oh, my.
And so my sister-in-law, ended up being paralyzed from this incident. And she was paraplegic for 22 years.
Oh, geez.
So, but like I said, there's nothing like that's ever happened before.
Right.
Nothing since. Don't claim to be psychic.
Right, yeah.
But something outside. There's no way I could have known.
Yeah.
There's no way I could have had any suggestion that this was going to happen. And the fact that I need to be home it was obvious.
Wow.
That listening to your gut is real, because that gut is the voice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. And you know what? She lived 22 years?
Yes, ma'am.
That is an extremely long time.
Probably one of the longest.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's a long time. And I bet she appreciated that time, didn't she, even though she was paraplegic?
No, her mind worked perfectly. Mm-hmm. It just, you can't body it.
Yeah.
Just the body didn't. And I've seen people with Alzheimer's that's a lot worse because they lose all contact with their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if she was still there. Whew, that's a tough one.
That is.
Yeah.
You know, I got speaking of hearing things, I want to read a story. This is actually true. So I'm going to read this. This is about a kid. When I was in Hawaii, I was in Hawaii from 2012. How long were you there? Because I met my wife in Hawaii, folks. This is where we met.
About 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
So
we
I
actually got married in Hawaii.
Yeah, we met and went on dates, got married, and we both moved from Hawaii because we're together. So this is a story. It's
funny
from
how that works.
right. 2015. This is February. I'm going to read the whole story. It's not very long. All right. It says Daylenn Pua had gone hiking up a set of steps in Hawaii, which is known as the Haiku Stairs, and the Stairway to Heaven. That's the unofficial name. When he disappeared in February of 2015. The steps were built in World War II to provide access to U.S. Navy communication facilities on the island of Oahu. This was constructed following concern for Hawaii after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, which brought the U.S. into the war. The war may be long over, but the 3,922 steps are still intact. Now, I don't know if this is actually an older, let me see when this is printed. Well, this is printed in December of last year, 2023, because it's 2024 now.
Was?
Yeah, the article says. Well, maybe it says updated. I don't know.
I was going to say.
Yeah. But anyways, it says, let me get back to it here. Though hikers are not allowed to attempt them. So in other words, they have closed this off and they said, hey, people, you're not allowed to go there. This is too dangerous. And some of these stairs are almost vertical. It's almost like a ladder. I've done it.
He knows.
I know.
He really didn't.
Well, I'll tell you, in order to do it, if you wanted to do it the wrong way, we'll just say wrong. We won't say the word that rhymes with an eagle. Anyway, if you wanted to do it the wrong way, you'd have to get up at 2:00 in the morning, maybe even earlier. You'd have to beat the security guard because they hired a security guard. Somebody, it's private property in the front of this, where the landing is, where the bottom of the stairs are. So they hired a security guard. The security guard would sit there from like 3:30 or 4:00 in the morning until about 7 or 8. And by 7 or 8, people knew that they weren't going to be able to go up there and come back down. It's 3,900 steps. And
he knows
it's a lot
because he was getting up at 2:00.
Yeah, I know because I got up and I did it.
I don't have pictures.
I got pictures. Anyway, so the hikers are not allowed to attempt it. Let me get back to the story. But this story, it says, but that doesn't stop foolhardily people from attempting to tackle the steps. That's me. Pua was speaking to his grandmother and told her about his plans to attempt the stairway. However, this grandmother warned him not to, as access to the path was barred to the general public. That's what I was talking about. There was also a fine in place, which anybody caught on the path would have to pay. I don't know if that was... I think that was kind of they threatened you with a fine, but they never actually did it. But like many other people who attempt the path, Pua was not deterred by this and set off on the same, on 27 February 2015. He set off up on the stairway, despite sending pictures of the view and the scenery to his family. He was never seen again. When Pua... Well, you want me to finish?
Yeah.
Let me finish the story. There's not that much.
I might forget.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say in the article, it said that he was just going to do it. It was supposed to be for a school project.
Yeah, I don't know. We actually know some of the people that were family and friends.
We were part of the search.
Yeah, there was.
Ways, yeah.
I'll get to that in a second.
But yeah.
It says when Pua didn't return home, an enormous search party was launched to find him, including U.S. Navy drones. I'll touch on that in a second. Among the evidence was photos he had sent to his family while on the hike. This is where things get creepy. That's because when you zoom in on the photos, you can clearly make out the figure of someone or something crouching down in the undergrowth. I'll show you this here in a second. It's not known who this person was or why they were in that location. It could be something innocuous, like a fellow hiker relieving themselves in the bushes, or it could be something more sinister. There's no mistake on it either. There's clearly a figure crouching in the pictures. Pua has now been missing for 7 years, and what happened to him remains a mystery. As he was never found, there's no way to know if he's alive or dead, and if he has died, then what caused his death. It's difficult, but creeped out by the sight of the mysterious figure following up the stairway on a hike which he would never return. Could it have something to do with his disappearance? So that's the story. I'm going to actually show you this. And I'm sorry, folks, if you're going to look this up. The website that I'm on is Unilad, UNILAD.com. It's a news story. If you look up Daylenn Pua, I think is his name, and 2015 Stairway to Heaven hike, Oahu, you'll find it. So we got this picture here. I don't know if Steve, can you see that? You see that guy right there? So it looks like a person right in the middle. Now we actually, I did speak with some of the other authority figures. Not only, so I was in the military at the time, and I managed to talk to several people involved in this whole process. There was a guy with a helicopter. There was at least one person with a drone, like a high quality drone. This says Navy drones. I wasn't connected with that, so I don't know if that's true or not. There were also people with huge telephoto lenses. I recall Maui Search and Rescue coming with the dogs, and they were cadaver dogs. You know, they're there to look for people. It went from a search and rescue to a search and recovery. As of today, I still don't believe that anyone knew where this person was, but it got to be where there was a lot of people. Now, I'm going to tell you, so listeners, I want you to listen up because we're going to play you something here. And everybody get your headphones on because this is going to be kind of creepy. I want you to listen. This recording that we're about to play you, when people were searching for him, we're all it was organized, but it wasn't professional organization. So these are people volunteering their time, semi-organized, looking for this kid. We think he could have fallen off one of the cliffs. They did ping his cell phone. The police did get a warrant, and they got into his iPhone pictures, and that's actually a picture from his iPhone. So this is the I don't want to call it hacked because the police have their way, but it's, they legally got a way to get this picture off of his phone. This is the last picture he took, and there were some other hikers that showed this picture. Now, listen up, folks. We're going to play this a couple of times so you can hear it real good. Go ahead and play that sound. You get it? There it goes. All right, play that like 3 more times.
Okay. All right.
All right, Steve. What do you think that was?
Well, it sounds like a human voice,
It's definitely a human voice.
and it sounds like I'm saying need some help, maybe.
All right. I'm glad you said that because I think it sounds like somebody is yelling the words, "Somebody help." Yeah. Let's listen again.
Yeah.
If you got it up? All right.
The last words definitely help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Whoa, that is, I'm telling you, that's right there. All the hair on my, like everything, it's all standing up. Ironically, that's one of my favorite words.
Yes.
That is called horripilation. It's what we call goosebumps, and that right there will send chills down your spine. If you think that is the last words he ever spoke, and we got it on audio, that is creepy. I mean, it's scary. It's sad. It's sad because that could.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
Especially since we sat there with this family for how many days?
Oh, it was over a week.
It was close to 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were just, heartbroken.
It was heartbreaking. It really was.
Well, just devastated. Why would you think this person would never come back again?
Right. Yeah. And he's 17.
Yeah, he was only 17, and it's a parent's. It's a parent's hope, A parent doesn't want to lose their child.
Yeah.
And another thing to say about they called him Moki.
Yeah.
He went in flip flops.
That's a Hawaiian thing. I tell you, it doesn't matter. You could be like, hey, brother, you need to have better shoes. Oh, I got flip flops.
Yes, so unfortunately, you don't go hiking in flip flops. You don't go hiking, and that, and it's sad, and my heart breaks for that family. have you experienced any situations like that, like friends or family, besides, your sister-in-law?
I've had several friends lost young children. This past summer, there was a grandfather, friend of mine, and his grandchild was on a four-wheeler on their property and flipped it, and the grandmother saw it happen. And so it was but they knew what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough when you don't know. All those questions.
Yeah. They even had psychics come out. And of
I
course, say, your
remember
backpack
that.
was at this address. And, that's... I can't say... I think the scariest I've had with my kids disappearing, William, my 26-year-old, he went and hid in this area that used to be a swimming pool next to a tree. He had to climb down in there. And
How old was he?
Laughing. Oh, maybe about 6.
Okay. Wow.
He was laughing while I was freaking out, and my heart was stopping because I thought somebody took him.
Kids do that. They're like, oh, I'm going to freak out my parents.
And he was like, hee hee hee. And he really was. And when I eventually found him, he was just laughing.
Oh, we did have a child disappear in Brandenburg.
Uh-huh.
The parents were freaking out, and the police came to our business because our business backed up to the house.
Oh, okay.
So we were checking culverts, we were checking all the sheds and outbuildings, and somebody said, check under his bed. And sure enough, he pulled a blanket up behind him. You couldn't see him. He was sleeping. He'd fall asleep behind the bed.
Oh, he was asleep? Oh, gee.
Lindsay did
So you're
that.
calling for him, he's not answering. Jeez.
Lindsay did that with her first big girl bed. She crawled up underneath it to go to sleep. Kids are, I don't know. That's why I have gray hair.
Kids can sleep in just about any. It's funny, kids will fall asleep in the car, and as soon as you turn the car off, it's like, oh, I'm awake.
Exactly.
That's crazy. You said that was almost like paranormal stuff. You have a story from your work.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So anybody who knows Class 6, they're on Fort Knox, should probably know the building that it used to be at, right across from the pharmacy, the Banter pharmacy. It is haunted. I have a video of one of our emergency doors. One of the shift managers is working, and the alarm went off, and she goes, and it's open, and there's no door handle on the outside. Nobody can open it.
This is like one of those industrial with a crash bar.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, a crash bar is like you have to push on.
Push the button.
Yeah, push on it to open it.
Push the bar.
Yeah, it's a bar.
I watch her on this video, and she goes, and about the time that she gets halfway to the door, it slams shut.
There was no wind.
There's nobody. There's no wind. There's nobody outside. So I watched the video, and the next day I go to check on it, and I'm pushing the bar, and I could not open it. It refused to open. And then somebody else came. Oh, no, I called.
Didn't you call maintenance?
Yeah, we called Knox Hills. We called maintenance,
yeah.
And they come, and he pushed that bar, and it opened right up. And I was the nice one. I told them that I didn't mind if they were there. They just had to do some stalking and cleaning.
There's, that building, it used to be, what was it?
It was a mortuary. It was a commissary. And they actually had like a butcher in the back. It's a fallout shelter.
Wow.
Like there's a whole area, the basement. It goes way beyond what the building is. I guess they...
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's huge. They found a noose. Miss Lou did.
That's
The
like,
whole
I'm going to get the
next
hell
door
out of there.
Yeah, she's got a picture of it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
it's
terrible.
Scary down there. I went down there. I'm like, oh, I want to see what it is. There's dead mice. It looked like there was a big furnace down there
yeah.
that segregated showers and bathrooms there. Where one of our storage rooms are the big doors where they brought the bodies in when it was a mortuary. That's some scary stuff.
It was dark down there, wasn't it?
They had there was actually electricity down there when you first went down there.
Yeah, but not when you went back in.
Well, I didn't go way back there.
Well,
I
that's
just went
appropriately creepy.
Yeah.
You can't have a creepy place with lights on. You got to have the lights out, and it's got to have cobwebs and stuff.
Yes. So Give us a story, Mr. Steve. That's what I've been waiting for, is your awesome stories.
Well, you mentioned Hawaii, and we mentioned Pearl Harbor. And I've got this hardware store, and everybody comes in and we share stories.
Yeah.
And it's been like 1986. Bill Medley had been our circuit court clerk for decades.
Yeah.
And he had been in the Navy, and he'd been at Pearl Harbor on December 7th.
Wow.
And so he was in the store, and I said, Bill, where were you 40 years ago today? He said, truth be known, I was AWOL. And he said that he and a buddy had gotten overnight passes to Honolulu. They had overstayed, but they imbibed a little too much, so overslept a little bit. They were trying to get back on the boat, and he was mad at his buddy. And while they were waiting for the water taxi to take him across, the Zeros came in.
Oh, geez.
And he said, if I'd been where I was supposed to be on my berth in the Arizona, I would not be here.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And while he was telling that story, another gentleman turns around and says, I was at the Air Force Base.
Oh, my.
And he starts telling the story about being at the Air Force Base.
Oh, wow.
And how all the planes were, except two, were put down before they got to the ground.
Yeah.
The reserve fuels were destroyed. And then while he was telling his story, another gentleman piped up and said, I was an MP in Honolulu.
Yeah.
And he says, we had to triage, we had to get direct traffic.
Yeah.
And said, then we went down to every hotel and went through every register. If you had DR in front of your name, we drafted you.
Wow.
Didn't make any difference. You're an optometrist or a chiropractor.
Or dentist, or didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
Wow.
And then at that time, it was common for women that were nurses to put RN behind their names.
Yeah.
Because there were that many professions for women.
Yeah.
And they drafted all the women, which is the first time women had been drafted.
Yeah.
Wow. And so they were, but what's the odds of having three guys, survivors of the attack on Pearl Harbor, in the same store at the same time on the anniversary?
That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Now, I remember you telling me one. Now, Rainbow used to work with a lady, and the two of you can corroborate this. You can absolutely guarantee there's gold inside Fort Knox.
I can.
Now,
yes.
So both of you have a wonderful point of view from this, and I want to hear, Rainbow, you tell us the person that you know. You don't have to say the person's name, but tell us how you know that there's actual gold in Fort Knox. It's not a scam.
A customer came in, and she was buying something. I can't recall what it was, but she was in a really good mood. And I asked her, something went good today, and she's like, yeah, she just got the position for manager of the house cleaning of the gold vault. And I'm like, oh. She's like, yeah. She's all like, I'm all about it. She's all like, but it's tough. She's like, we can't wear pockets. Your nails have to be short. When you come out, they check you. They scrape your nails. You can't have anything. It's pretty tough. She's like, they literally go in there and dust those gold bars to make sure they stay, of course, everything. She didn't tell me everything that was in there because she can't, but she, just like gold and other things. So
I think,
didn't we have the vault and they keep it clean.
Didn't we have the Declaration of Independence in there? Do you know that?
One copy.
One copy? Mm-hmm. Like an original?
Absolutely.
Wow. That's wild.
Yep.
Plus, at one time, they kept a lot of drugs there.
Yeah.
Because during World War II, shipping had been cut off. And so they kept a lot of things like opium and things like that we needed for painkillers.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
And how do you know? Because, Steve, you have a great story about how you know that there's gold in there.
I've got two stories about it.
Ooh.
My wife's grandfather, Joe Bickett, actually helped load the gold. Wow. And he was working on a road crew for building Highway 60.
Right.
They came to the crew and said, we need some big, strong guys for a special job.
Right.
And he was one they picked. And there's actually a picture of him, and it's been on the television. There's a show called Fort Knox and mysteries. And there's actually a picture of him working on the crew.
I'm going to look it up right now. What was his name?
Joe Bickett. Cket.
Let's check this out.
And there's him and a group of men, handling the bars. And then the other story I've got, and this comes to me from a college buddy, but he swears that the North Hardin football team, they take the seniors every year. They would go to Fort Knox. They would put them on a bus with blacked out windows. They would take them to the gold vault. They would blindfold them. They would take them down into the vaults. They would bring gold bars out, turn the bar up. Every bar is numbered, and there's an accountant that basically checks the numbers and makes sure that that number is supposed to be in that vault.
Yeah. That sounds very military, because when I was in the Army, I was the unit armorer, and I'm a computer guy. Like, I don't know why they were like, hey, you good with the computers? Yeah, we're going to have you work with guns. I was like, okay. I like guns anyway, so that was fine with me. But I ended up, I actually reorganized, I guess is the best way to put it. All of our firearms, you've got the serial number of the firearm, but then for the Army, we had a buttstock number, and that butt number was literally on the butt, like the part you put up to your shoulder, literally the buttstock. So they would, of course, paint like A32 or whatever it was, and it didn't matter what the number was. It was to identify the weapon easier than having to look at the numbers. One of the things that I saw, it was a little trick. If you have a firearm that you like, and you want to be able to read the numbers, one of the tricks that the guys would do for the M16s, they would take chalk and they would rub it on the serial number, and then the serial number would be almost white. And then you could take your fingers and rub off the excess, and all that would be left is the bright, clean serial number. So we used to do that. Now, because I'm a computer guy, I took all the serial numbers of all the M16s. Now, we had, I think, 140 or so M16s. We had 24 M4s. We had 10 or so M249s. That's the SAW, squad automatic weapons. Those are fully automatic. Well, technically speaking, all the M16s and M4s were considered fully automatic because they had a 3-round burst. So you could, safe, and then semi was one shot, one pull, and then you click it one more, and we call that the giggle switch. You click it, and it instantly puts a smile on your face because you're like, and so you get to have fun with that. But I took all the serial numbers, and I took all the buttstock numbers, and I was like, you know what? I don't like this stuff out of order. And it wasn't just an OCD thing. I don't really think that's a big deal, but if all the numbers were in the same order, like if they were in chronological order and you had a printout, because every month we'd have to do inventory of the weapons, somebody else, just like what you were saying, a third party would have to read off the serial numbers. Because if the armorer, was reading off numbers, I could inadvertently read off a number that I know wasn't there. I could go up to a weapon and I'd say, yeah, serial number 7145556. 7145557, and maybe 57 is gone. But if I knew that it was supposed to be there, I could read off that number and nobody would be any wiser. So to prevent that from happening, they would always have a third party, somebody that wasn't involved at all. One person would read the number from the weapon and the other person would check it off on the checklist. Well, this took like 3 hours, just for 300, 400 weapons. It's not difficult if they're all in order, but when you're looking, how the numbers print off would not be the butt numbers. They would be the serial numbers. So serial numbers weren't in any sort of order. So how did you find it? So I put everything in serial number order and buttstock order, which was okay until we added more weapons. Then everybody's number would have to shift from whatever number it's in. But that didn't happen very often, so we really didn't have to worry about it. We had the M16s, the 249s. We actually had the M203s as well. That's a grenade launcher. So we had all the different weapons. We had everything. I changed all the buttstock orders. And then now when people came in, the monthly inventory would take half an hour, 45 minutes. And now, because they're just literally reading them off right in line, so they would read 520-6645, 520-6646, 520-6649. Maybe the manufacturer sent a few to Bravo Company, a few to Charlie Company or whatever. And, you know, so we wouldn't have exactly every single serial number in the correct order. It's not like sequential bills, but it would be all these serial numbers, and they were all in an order. And then I put all the buttstock numbers, and then that was it. And I feel like I did my job, you know. I
Exactly.
helped out the military. I was unable to find that picture. Maybe I'm not looking the right thing, but that's pretty cool that he unloaded it from the train.
Yeah, well, they brought the train, they brought in it and loaded on trucks,
Mm-hmm.
and then brought the trucks into the
Okay.
compound.
Wow. I bet you that's a lot of security.
Now, an interesting thing about that, though,
Mm-hmm.
the 1937 is when the first load of gold came. That was also the year of the Great Flood.
Yeah.
The gold train got stopped at Shepherdsville. The river had overflowed on the bridge.
Oh.
They had to wait 3 days for the water to come down and an engineer to come out
Wow.
and inspect the bridge so that it was safe to go across.
I bet you that was some high tension.
You can imagine.
I cannot imagine.
Billions of dollars of today's money.
Oh, geez.
Wow.
That's insane. Oof. Talk about making you just stress out. That's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's a
what I
little
would
bit
do.
stressful.
I was talking about Fort Knox. Let me actually bring up, because earlier we were talking about paranormal and stuff like that. I don't know. And she thinks that the building on it's the old Class 6, and you're 100% certain that it's haunted. Or something is going on, something unexplainable. And,
So the back where warehouse is, you've been back there.
yeah,
You know how musty it smells?
yeah.
There was times that, and it wasn't just me, we've had customers walk back there where it smelled like cinnamon rolls. There's only one reason why it would smell like cinnamon rolls. There was no oven back there. There was some spirit. That's what they were. And again, I didn't have a problem with it. We would have people would open up the cooler doors and literally cans would fly out at them. They'd this flew out at me. Whatever, bottles, they'd walk through the aisles, bottles would just fly.
I remember you were telling me somebody was mopping the floor. Not
Bruce, yes.
a regular tile floor. You know, if it's wide open, and
It's
you're
the
just
commercial tile.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
say what he was doing.
He was mopping the floor, and then all of a sudden you could see him getting frustrated on the camera. You know, so that you could see him. He would like mop, and he.
Like something was there, but it wasn't. There was nothing on the camera. You could see it, and he's like pushing, and then all of a sudden it would stop in midair. It's like an invisible wall, and he couldn't figure it out. And she saw it. I was just like, "Ooh, that's."
Yeah,
I'm not
no, he
going
knew
there.
what it was. He's back there cussing him out. He's all like, "Would you just let me mop?" It's like, stop messing with me, because he'd mop, and it would stop, and there was nothing there. There was like nothing for the mop to get stuck on. It's like he was hitting a wall. And boy, I'm like, maybe if you talk nice to him, they'd stop.
Yeah, there's some stories about haunted areas in Fort Knox, and one of these is just the housing in there. I'm going to read a story. This is on a website called Ghosts of America. Now, I don't know if you believe in ghosts or spirits or the devil. I believe in God. I believe in the devil. I think it's, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And spirits, yeah.
Coincides. Yeah.
It says, back in 2016, when I was staying in Yauman Hall, facing Spearhead Division Road, I am retired from the Army now, but those that understand Yauman Hall is a DVQ. A person at my rank and experience doesn't scare easily. That night, around 00:15, I heard a horrible scream, and it smelled like bad pork roast from outside. I looked outside my window across the street. In the middle of the field was a man screaming on fire, running towards the houses. That's got to be freaky. Middle of the night, and you look up and you see somebody on fire running towards the houses. Anyway, he says, I put on my flip-flops. He must be Hawaiian. Yeah, I put on my flip-flops and ran down the center stairwell and out the front door. The smell was gone, and the screaming stopped. I walked across the street in nothing but flip-flops, PT shorts, and a tan T-shirt. That's typical military middle-of-the-night garb. I crossed the street, crossed the field, and expected to find a dead, burnt man. And there was nothing but a dark house with 2 back porches, a yellow car, and a grill. Now, this guy's pulling up some details. It's not like he's saying a car. He said a yellow car. So he's paying attention. Normal backyard. I had turned around to go back to bed, and right in my face was the burning man screaming soundlessly. Wow. And suddenly disappeared with the smell of burnt pork ribs. I gasped for air. My heart pounded in my chest like... I got to click to the next page. I just finished my 2-mile run. And that's pretty intense. I went back to my room, took 4 shots of Kentucky bourbon. Good old Kentucky bourbon. Went to sleep with the lights on. I dropped my retirement papers the next week and to leave the Army Reserve. I live in Texas now. I will never, ever return to Fort Knox. And that was submitted by Old Time Veteran. I don't blame him either. I don't know if...
the experience that I had, that's...
Yeah.
It's hard to intimidate me.
Yeah.
Because I'm hard-headed.
I think we all have our own little bits of hard-headedness.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
There's some stories on Fort Knox. There's all kinds of stories.
Yep.
You have a story about someone with Muhammad Ali, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that. Muhammad Ali.
You have a couple.
That's a local.
Yeah. Or a friend or somebody, don't they?
Which? No, I'm sorry, I'm that lost.
Well, we got. I think you were telling us about how Muhammad Ali's sister?
Oh, sister or daughter?
Someone was doing some work.
Oh, what is this?
It was.
Well, I was actually talking about my niece.
Right.
Oh yeah, niece.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
yeah, it was somebody.
My niece actually worked with Lonnie Ali.
Okay.
When Muhammad Ali was being buried.
Right. Yeah.
And so she arranged for Ali's body to come back to Kentucky.
Yeah.
She arranged for the funeral layouts as far as how people were going to be seated and things like that. She arranged the food. She arranged the motorcade that was taking Ali to the graveyard. And she did such a good job that Lonnie Ali told her bosses she deserves a raise, and she told them out.
Wow.
And said she'll either get it or I'll hold it from your check. And then later on, Lonnie Ali recommended her to the Chuck Berry's family.
Yeah.
And so she went to St. Louis and did Chuck Berry's funeral.
Wow.
Nice. That's impressive. It's important that someone take care of that process.
I'm sorry, we went with paranormal, and I was trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think about paranormal Muhammad Ali story I had.
Yes. Well, unless he came back and he visited one of us, I don't know.
He might. You never know.
You never.
He might
Have
be
you
knocking
ever
on
had
that
any
door.
dreams like that? You ever had a dream where it was like so real?
I have the dumbest dreams ever.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna tell you this because that reminds me. I literally had this written down. My wife has not heard this yet, so we're gonna see how this plays out because,
jeez.
yeah, this could this could be weird. All right. Okay, I got 2 things here. Let me actually find it because I had it written down. So it was. Oh yeah. Okay, so I asked my wife, and maybe you can think about this while I'm telling this little story, and I told my wife to think about this as well. Best superhero ability. Now, I don't, if you've known me for a couple years now, and of course my wife has known me for well over 10, I will have just some way out of the blue, just some weird thoughts. You're just like, how did you come up with that? And I'm going to tell you this one. This is a unique one. Most people say if they were going to have a superhero ability, they, what are the typical ones? I want to fly. I want to be able to read minds. I want to be invisible. All the typical, it's never, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And maybe the read mind things might, because, we're getting into stuff where we're plugging our brains into a computer, which that's a whole nother subject. But I think if I could have my choice of a superhero ability, doesn't matter what it is, I think a cool ability to have would be able to recall any dream at any time later on command, like full detail. Like I want to recall a dream that I had when I was 7. And you might think, well, that's kind of weird. Who would want to do that? But think of the wild, we have some just wild dreams. We don't think normal. You know, we have all these just different imaginations of colors and stuff like that. I think that would be cool.
The moment we wake up.
Yeah. I think it's, what is it, within 8 minutes or something when you wake up, if you have a dream, if you don't write it down, like I know some people that keep a notepad right next to their bed. And if they have a lot of people, they have songwriters or movie producers, they'll have an idea and they'll write it down as soon as they wake up, or they'll wake up in the middle of the night and they'll write it down because they were dreaming, and then they had to get up or something woke them up, and then they're like, hey, I should write this down. But I think the ability to recall a dream at any point in time in your life, no matter how old you are, you can recall a dream just like that. I think that would be awesome because you'd be able to basically tell any kind of wild story.
I have that ability.
You and you know what's great? People would never know if you're lying because you could just make it up as you go, and they're just gonna be like, "Are you crazy?" Yes, I am. Oh, that would be awesome. What did you? When I asked you what your superhero ability, what do you think you'd want to do? X-ray vision.
The sound of silence.
The sound of silence.
Because sometimes this world needs it.
You mean like...
Just to be able to quiet the loud noise that people sometimes need to refresh and think and gather.
Like for yourself or other people?
For everybody.
For everybody.
Anybody who needs it, the sound of silence.
Give them peace.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes it's needed.
Boy, that made me sound selfish, didn't it? Here I am thinking about what I'm dreaming, and I'm like, oh, Have you ever had a lucid dream? Do you know what that is? Have you ever heard of lucid dreaming?
Dreaming, kind of like daydreaming while you're awake.
No. This is lucid
superpower. What is going to be?
Oh yeah, let's hear what do you think, or if you haven't gotten one?
Oh, it's invulnerability.
And you'd want to be invincible?
Just invulnerable.
Okay.
So you get shot, the bullets bounce off. You get
Right.
knocked through a wall, you get up and dust off, and go right back into the fray.
Right. That'd be pretty cool.
Do you know that a dream only lasts it's 5 to 20 minutes? Might feel like it's all night.
No, is it really that short?
5 to 20 minutes, yeah.
Wow, some of them are really intense though, and I think it's related to REM sleep. I think if you look that up, there's like different stages of sleep and whether or not you're in. Like I didn't know there was more than I thought. It was just like regular sleep and then REM. I didn't think there was really a whole like division of different sections of dreams. I guess there's light sleep, there's heavy sleep, there's deep sleep. I guess maybe heavy and deep are the same. And then there's REM. And REM is the rapid eye movement. That's when your eyeball is like moving around on its own. If you're sleeping and somebody comes up to you and they see your eye just kind of twitching, that's REM sleep. And I think REM, I was under the impression that REM was like the deepest of sleep. It's when your brain is free to roam. Well, lucid dreaming, and I would love to hear if anyone out there has done this or has the ability, because this is actually a real thing. I didn't know this. I was telling Tony about it the other day. Lucid dreaming is the ability to recognize that you are dreaming when you are dreaming. So think about that. Let that sink in. What we're saying here is you fall asleep, and then all of a sudden in your dream, you could be driving along the highway, and then all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, this isn't real. I'm in a dream. And you can control your dream from that point forward. You want your car to fly? Off it goes. You want birds to come to you because you call them? It doesn't matter. It's almost like the ability to recall a dream. It's just your imagination as whatever you want. And it's an open book, and you're free to do whatever. There's no limitations from what I understand.
I've occasionally done that.
You've done that?
Yes.
Wow. Did you fly? That's what everybody says.
Actually, I didn't. But that's but you're just also you're aware.
Yeah.
That you can think anything and it's going to play out. It's like being a director and changing a movie.
Oh, that's got to be wild. That's got to be wild. I think that's fun. I would like to know how to do that, but then again, I don't know. Sometimes I just want to go to sleep and just get my rest, and I don't want to make a thing of it.
Most of my dreams are so dumb that I'll wake up laughing. And that's how I wake up. My wife goes, "What is wrong with you?" It's one of those crazy dreams.
Oh, that's got to be crazy. I guess they sell certain stuff to help you lucid dream. I don't know if I'd want to pay for that. I read an article once that you can take a ping pong ball. I know this is weird. It's like one of those Popular Mechanics articles. Remember Popular Mechanics? I loved reading that. Take a ping pong ball, cut it in half, and the part that's open, you put it on your eye as you're sleeping, and then you have the round things. I don't know what the deal is with the ping pong ball. I don't know if it's you have to have light on, but I've seen other ones where it's a mask, and it has LED lights in the mask, and I don't know if they hook it up to your phone or to your smartwatch or something to determine you're actually asleep, but it like does something, and then I guess after a certain amount of time you are supposed to be able to realize that you're dreaming. Someone else said another cue or method of figuring out if you're in a dream is to look at numbers. Numbers and letters in a dream are all whacked out. Like if you look at a clock, instead of the clock saying 10:45 in the morning, it'll say like 10PQ9Z hashtag. And it's
trying to do that much work in my dream.
But you could fly. You don't want to fly in your dream like Superman?
I don't even like getting on a plane.
But in your dream, you have control. No? Still no?
No.
All right.
No.
I think it'd be cool. I would want to go to like Africa and pet a wild something. Wild tiger.
Stick your hand, touch their nose, and
Touch
stick
their
your
nose.
hand in.
I saw a video today on Instagram. Lady, she must be like a conservationist or something. You know, they rescue animals and whatnot. And she's got all these like Black Panther. I saw. Was it a tiger or a lion? Lioness?
It was a few of them.
There's a couple,
there
yeah.
was
And she would just go up to it and like touch it, and it would like play. And it's a big cat, you know, like a kitty cat. You know, it's really
with big teeth and big claws.
yeah, big teeth and big claws. I don't think I'd want to get too close to them. That'd be scary. Have you ever been around a big animal like that?
I have.
In person?
Yes.
Now, was it on the other side of a cage?
My uncle was a Shriner. And
Oh,
he was in
cool.
charge of the security for the circus.
Yeah.
So I would go with him behind the scenes, get to meet the clowns, get to meet the trapeze artists. We actually got to pet a lion one time.
Ooh. And it was out of the cage.
Yeah, I was in the cage.
Oh, you were in the cage.
Oh,
That's even worse.
Okay.
I was in the cage with it. Yeah.
Did they leave it open? Were they like, haha, Steve, we're going to lock you in there? Oh, no, okay.
Because the trainer said, now, this one, you can pet it, do anything you want to.
Right.
Don't touch that one.
Don't touch the other one. Wow. What were the names? Do you remember? No.
No, I don't think I ever knew.
How
I don't
old
think I
were
ever
you?
asked. Less than 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Were your parents upset with you?
Steve, go in the lion cage, Steve.
Oh, Clam knew all the people take it back there.
actually
He
pretty
knew he knew them all by names.
Oh, geez.
I'd see the clowns without their makeup on, putting their makeup on.
That's pretty cool.
Got to see the trapeze artists, not on the
Right,
not
yeah.
on the wire, but in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
I don't think I've ever been to a circus.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I've even
trying to
been to
recall. I don't think
that Circus Olay. It's the one where they do the dancing and the real fancy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Tim?
I think so.
Yes, the real when I was in.
Sounds
Colorado,
expensive.
Yeah, they do a lot more acrobatics and ballet type things. It's more artsy.
It's beautiful. That's actually a beautiful version of the circus.
Yeah. Now,
But you don't need to go to a circus because there's one in our house.
Yeah, I'm telling you, our cats are wild. No, do you remember? So I had some family members. When did Richard and Levon pass away? Was it 2 years ago? It was in the middle of COVID, but they didn't pass away from COVID. I think they were. It was health problems. I'll just leave it at that. They had a neighbor, and the neighbor was one of those rescue people. Now, Richard and Levon were very humble, but they were well off. They had money. They didn't need to worry about anything. In fact, I've got some pretty cool pictures and videos of the pool area that they had. They had a grill there from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Have you ever?
That's cool.
You've heard of Kalamazoo.
Absolutely.
I did not know that Kalamazoo, Michigan had a grill company called Kalamazoo Grills. They're like $5,000 grills. I don't have that kind of money. But anyway, they had a neighbor that was like a rescue person, and they had zebras. They had zebras in there and just walking around, I guess.
I love zebras.
Yeah. They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, there's people out here that have Well, I don't know if you consider emus an exotic pet. Would you consider an emu an exotic pet?
I would.
Yeah. Have you ever had an emu egg?
No.
I hear they're really rich. Now, Rainbow is allergic to eggs, and I really jacked up this story because sometimes I mix up stories, and I accidentally told somebody the story of how our first time on the jet ski, I hit a wave sideways. That's actually true, but that's not what the story was from. It was just a mundane issue, and she had to go to the hospital. You know what a PICC line is?
Yes.
Rainbow, tell them what happened.
So this is actually why I was in the hospital when my daughter came. I have a kidney that every now and then it doesn't feel to filter. So I had to, I got was it a UTI? I think it was.
Yeah.
Bladder infection. And it was from using a public bathroom. Because
Dirty bathrooms.
Like my first, I know, dirty. It's like my first one in 20 years. And my doctor called me. I was at work. She's like, you have to go to the ER. We have a bed for you already. I'm all like, no, I have to work. She's all like, yeah.
I remember
you
this.
do. She's all like, your kidney numbers are, no, you have to go. So the new medicine that they put me on for my kidney, and because I needed to go home, instead of staying in the hospital for 2 weeks, which is how long they wanted to keep me, I'm like, my daughter's coming in, and I haven't seen her in a few years. And I have to meet her soon-to-be husband, who was very afraid of me, and that he was like 6'6" and 300 pounds, and he was deadly afraid of me. I don't know why. And,
You're
but
scary.
the medicine that they gave me, thank God I was in the hospital. I ate scrambled eggs, and like everything just swelled. Hives, and that was one of the reactions of the kidney medicine. And I also became allergic to latex. The PICC line, so the PICC line is they put it in your arm and they run a tube to your heart.
Isn't
That's
it like
crazy.
a millimeter away?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know. Did you know that? PICC line? Yeah, it's crazy.
I've had two. I've had one on each arm. But the bandage that they put over it, they had to come, I think it was 4 different times until they finally found one that I wasn't allergic to. And it had like some kind of lambskin thing. It was so bad. But yeah, like it was a medicine that made me allergic to egg. And I'm allergic to the egg yolk, not the white. Usually people are allergic, or they have an allergy to the egg white, but they can eat the egg yolk. They're not allergic to eggs. They just have an allergy to eggs.
Yeah.
I
didn't.
am allergic to eggs. I'm allergic to the egg yolk.
And I guess like duck is also very high in protein. So duck would not be anything she can do. But there's.
Well, no, I read I can. They said.
Oh, you think duck is
low?
Oh, I'm sorry, I got it wrong then. It's the other way around. So duck is very likely that she could try for a duck egg. Same thing with emu and ostrich.
I want to be sitting in the ER waiting room just in case.
Plate full of eggs, just like, okay, guys, this could be. I could be next in line. Right? You know?
Egg yolk is my favorite part. That's always so.
Yeah. You know,
I'll get over it.
Speaking of eggs, I don't know if you know this, but Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Summer wasn't bad either.
Here it goes.
Dad jokes.
No, dad jokes. I was waiting for it to come in. It's been a while.
I had to figure out how to.
You've told one today, have you?
I had to work that one in. I didn't plan on it. I just happened to have that one up. I love it, but. Steve, one of the things I love to do is I love learning new words. In fact, my mom just sent me something. I'm gonna read this. I don't think even Rainbow knew about this one. This one was a couple of days ago. It's actually from my aunt. It's called lexophilia. And it says, although not in the dictionary, it probably is, it is reported that a lexophile describes a person who loves sentences such as, You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
Tune a fish.
Yeah, it's like it. Or to write with a broken pencil is pointless. So they're kind of like dad jokes, but they're I guess words. Now, I think I've said this on one of the other episodes, or maybe it was when we tried the last time. A logophile is technically a lover of words, and I consider myself a lover of words, and I have a ton of words, literally hundreds of them that I've saved in this Excel spreadsheet. I had to type them all in. It was a process. I've got 847 of them. And of the 847, I'm going to work my way through all of them here on our podcast. Not today, folks.
I was just saying,
I'm not doing it today.
I'm hitting stop.
But I've got all these words. Are you a fan of fancy sounding words?
I am.
We just had one a few days ago that I starred in my, a couple of them actually. I'll just go ahead and read these both. One of them is called ad hocery. You ever heard that word? I guess it's two words. Ad hocery.
Sounds like you're full of it.
Wow, it's not what it means at all.
That's what it should be.
It says reliance on temporary solutions rather than on consistent long-term plans. That sounds very like official. Like you want to make sure.
Not in the dictionary too.
Oh no, that one's in. It's actually from dictionary.com. We're good on that one. Let me see what the other one. The other one. It actually. I think this was. This is today, January 7th. We're recording this on Sunday here, folks. It says. Yeah, I'm gonna mess this up. Dernier. I'm gonna spell it. Dernier. Dernier Cree. CRI is the second word. It says the latest fashion or the last word. It's kind of like it might be French.
It is French.
Do you know how to pronounce it?
Dernier, I think Cree. Dernier Cree, I think.
Dernier Cree.
Dernier Cree, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. The latest fashion. Yeah. It says I have a.
So, do you know
French,
more Englishes other than English?
I speak a little French.
Do you? That's
Very
why I
little,
asked that.
very little.
Oh, all right.
When I was in high school, there was a gentleman named John Abity
Mm-hmm.
that had married an American girl and was in French class to learn English.
Oh.
So he's reverse learning, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I learned a lot of phrases and stuff from John
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't have picked up in a regular French class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And he'd been a soldier. He'd been involved in the Algerian uprising.
Wow.
And learned a lot from him about French history and opinions and stuff. Too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I never had to study anything. Schools change. Before there was no requirements for a foreign language, and then I think in the mid 80s to early 90s, in some schools they were like, no, you have to learn a foreign language. And then I somehow skipped out of it. I managed to not have any.
I skipped through it too.
You skipped through it too? Yeah. Somehow there was no requirement. I had, what was it? Biology. I never had did you have to cut open a worm or a frog or anything in a biology class? I never had to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I was sick that day. I don't know. I don't remember cutting open it.
You probably played hooky.
What? Me? Skip school?
I've got you. Yeah.
I lived real close to the school, so I would. Sorry, Mom. I would skip school.
I didn't know he really did. I was joking, Mom.
I would go home, but I would have to cross the highway to get to my house. I remember some. You remember my buddy RJ? We would have class over in one of the other schools, mm-hmm. and we would. At that time, we were seniors. We were allowed to drive our cars, but we could also take the bus if we wanted. We figured out there was like a little loophole. If you didn't want to go to that class, you could just say you missed the bus, but you told the teacher at the class that you were leaving, that you were going to catch the bus, or you'd tell them you were driving, and the two of them wouldn't communicate, and so they wouldn't know that you're absent. So there was times where we would just go to Hot and Now. You remember that place? Burger restaurant? There was it might have been a Michigan thing. Do you recall this business?
No, ours was 39-cent burgers.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, well, it was 39 cents back then.
Yeah, no, ours was 30. It was in Texas. It's
Yeah.
99-cent burgers.
Yeah, there was a lot. But yeah, we used to go through there. I'd buy like 8 or 10 burgers. I mean, they're not that big. They're just little tiny things. But it's like the equivalent of a White Castle.
We got to remember, I grew up in Brandenburg, so
Yeah.
we had the Frisette.
Okay.
And that was about it.
And what do they have? Is it like a
Their specialty was a slaw burger.
slaw burger? That sounds
And
gross.
they basically coleslaw with a hamburger. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you eat coleslaw?
And I do.
Oh, you know what? Rainbow and I have a specific location for coleslaw. The trash can.
Yeah.
We can't stand. If we go to a place like what?
Neither one of us.
Who's one of the places that gives us coleslaw? Is it Long John Silver's or
House.
something? Fish House. They're like, yeah, we'll get you a side of coleslaw. No need. It's going right in the
No.
trash. We're not eating that. I don't know. What is coleslaw anyways? It's like
Cabbage usually.
Yeah,
just
it's cabbage. So I'm not a
yeah,
cabbage eater.
mayonnaise. We went to Five Guys there in E-Town today.
Oh yeah.
They
Have you ever had
opened.
Five Guys?
Yes.
I walked in. I told them that their sign was lying. There's more than 5 guys back there.
Yeah. You can tell they just opened, and you can tell that they are full of new people. They're, a few of us, and I say us because we were involved, had to take their food back up. But the customer service was exceptional. They were not rude. They were not ugly. I
Yeah.
got a bacon cheeseburger with no bun, add mushrooms. He got a bacon cheeseburger, no pickles. So he got the bacon cheeseburger with mushrooms. And I got the bacon cheeseburger with no mushrooms, add onions. So, of course, I had to take it up there. But everyone was really nice. So, yes, I recommend, even though there was that little snag, go to Five Farms in E-Town.
And we weren't upset at all. I mean, we're very forgiving. I don't think we're the type
It's
of
a new
customer that gets
place.
mad. Yeah, they're new. And
have
the
to
people that
be.
work there,
Yeah.
they're just getting started. And, I told them a phrase, we've used it in the military, and I'm sure you've heard this before. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. And that just means, take a minute, get it done right. And the more you do this, the more often you'll speed up over time.
I think they were trying to hurry because there was all those managers that were in there doing that hiring, and instead of, like you said, going slower, they were trying to get it out, and it was they threw more food out than they but
that puts on a
again,
lot of pressure.
customer service.
Well, they've got a lot of variety,
Yeah.
so it makes it a little tougher.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good. The place is clean. I like it.
Yeah,
So,
it's
I
good
like the
food.
fact
We
that I can get it with no
we
bun.
haven't had a regular burger in months, so I mean, it was just, so good.
The French fry. It wasn't the burger. It was the French fry. Like, I dipped that French fry in that
fries are
ketchup,
great.
and I took that bite, and I got chills. And I'm pretty sure the smile on my face, everybody in the restaurant could tell I hadn't had that.
You
month.
didn't
They're
have
like,
heripulation like earlier with your.
Oh, it was
No.
So yeah, it was.
What's your favorite food, Steve?
Well, I hate to say it, I'm pretty basic.
Yeah,
Hamburger, French fries are
yeah,
pretty much a mainstay at my house.
Yeah.
Of course, we like Mexican, we like chili, I like German food.
okay,
I like Chinese. I mean,
right.
Oh,
There's a what's the restaurant we always go to? The El Molinos.
El Molino's.
Yeah, I
El
love
Molino.
that place. I go in there and it's like, they see me and they're like, oh, there's the guy that orders the shrimp. For a Mexican place, but they do shrimp. It's in a spicy sauce. They call it El Camarón Diabla. And I've been pretty good at saying it. I've been
Yeah.
getting the same meal for, well,
It's only taken them 7 years.
yeah, it's only taken me 7 years to be able to say in their how they say it, but it's probably one of my favorite meals. It's just basic, it's very spicy, but it's big shrimp, and then they put it in this red sauce, and then there's refried beans and Mexican rice or Spanish rice.
It's
I don't
one of
know
your
which one.
favorite meals.
Yeah.
Okay, see if I cook for you tonight.
It's one of my favorite meals to eat out.
Okay, better. That's better.
I gotta watch it, Steve. She's not gonna cook for me. Are you the main cook? Do you cook a lot?
no.
No.
I do enjoy cooking, but,
Mm-hmm.
and I make everything basically from scratch.
Okay.
So it takes me a while to cook, and my wife hates when I cook because every pan and dish is dirty, and she, oh my God, you're the dirtiest, messiest cook.
Geez. Yeah.
Yep, I probably use every pan. I make everything from scratch too. I
Yeah.
don't use anything that's boxed. And that's even before we went on the diet and started eating a little bit cleaner. I did everything from scratch. I do my taco seasoning from scratch. I don't think I've used packaged seasoning.
Yeah.
I used one time when I came over, and yeah, I don't.
And so
I
your
make
wife mainly
homemade
cooks. How
Alfredo
often do you guys
sauce.
eat out?
We probably at least twice a week.
Twice a week. What are we at? Like maybe once a week? Once every other week, maybe? We don't go out very
Probably
often.
once every other week, once every 3 weeks.
Most of the time, I was just like bring it home, pick it up, bring it
Yeah.
home.
What do you think? What is it? Not Uber Eats. Well, them too. Have you? Are there a lot of options in Brandenburg for someone to deliver a meal from a place like Uber Eats?
If you're in Brandenburg, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't live in Brandenburg.
Yeah, you're out in Painville or further.
Flaherty.
Flaherty. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so the other way. All right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot.
We have one of our 18-year-olds who. So he works right there at Freddy's. Taco Bell is right next door. So he would pay for Taco Bell to deliver his food across the parking lot.
Oops, sorry. I
I'm
bumped
not
the mic.
joking. That's
Yeah.
a true story.
Hey, I'm like, dude, like, I get it. You're young and you don't have as many responsibilities, but you gotta start making better decisions. You know, well, that's what we get for having a cat in here.
That's what
Sorry about that, folks. One of our cats decided to push down one of our. He likes to just knock stuff off. I'm gonna actually take everything.
he'll literally
Knocked over.
No, he just had something to say, and that was that.
Yeah, he likes to do that. You got any pets?
I do.
What do you have?
Well, you met Boomer.
Yeah, Boomer. He's at the. Is he a black lab or a
Black
brown?
lab.
Okay, black lab. Super chill.
How old is he? I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's about 8 years old, and like I said, most laid back dog.
Yeah.
Just wants to be everybody's buddy.
Yeah. He's great. I've seen him. And then what's the other dog that comes in and plays with him? You have one that comes in and
Well,
plays?
actually, we got a couple that comes up. We got one named Ace.
Ace. That's a cool name.
That is a cool name.
Yep. And now is Boomer, he goes home with you? Does he
Every
ride with
night.
you? Every night? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he rides back and forth. Loves to go for rides.
Yeah. Somebody was
Cobain used to, but he
Yeah.
doesn't anymore now that he's blind. And even before he was blind, I think he got car sick.
yeah.
He'd only stand up for a minute and then he lay down.
We were watching I think another podcast and somebody was talking about how they have a dog and if it's in the back you're gonna hear the dog just and you're like, oh, Christ, it's gonna throw up. And then but if it's up front, he doesn't get car sick. You know, just
I'm pretty sure the dog has got him fooled. He knows how to get in the front seat.
the dog is like, if I just pretend like I'm gonna get sick,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I think
I'm personally of the opinion
yeah.
that if the aliens actually do come to Earth, they'll come and talk to the dogs. Because face it, we work all day to take them to the vet, to buy them food, buy them toys, groom them.
Yep.
They're going to think they're the master race and we're the subservient race.
I mean, we do go around and pick up their dog poo. So it does,
Exactly.
if you look at
Yeah.
us from above, you're probably going, how come that thing is picking up the waste from that thing? That's pretty, I think that might be correct.
Yes, they are the ruler of the universe.
But cats are really smart. We have 2 cats, and I built a tank for one of them, like out of cardboard. I took a box and got a big, huge. I used not a paper towel
box.
roll. It was a
Oh, it's the wrapping paper.
wrapping paper.
roll.
I took the wrapping paper of one of the rolls it was almost gone, so I added it to another roll and took the empty roll, and I made the tank turret, the tank. The main gun, and then I had like a big box and a smaller box on top, and then that turned into a turret. And so he only went in it like twice, but he goes in every other box 50, 60 times a day.
Exactly.
Yes.
If we buy,
One of them cats, they never react the way you think they're going to.
that's true. And I think ours knows when we're about to record it. We try and record stuff. They do stuff, and it's like you try
They
and
can
catch
hear,
them.
like as soon as we hit camera, they know we're hitting camera because they'll.
They stop.
stop, yeah.
They stop, and it's like I told her. I said, I'm thinking about. We have a cat. One of our cats will bring. She started with socks, and she would start with our kids. For some reason, there's a laundry basket, but for some reason it never ends up in the basket. And I told him, I said, there's a sock downstairs. What was the phrase? Come collect your prize.
Yeah, go collect your prize.
We always used to tell him, go collect your prize. And he knew that, because the very first time I said, hey, we got a prize for you. He's like, really? What is it? I was like, come downstairs and collect it. And he went downstairs, and it's like 3 of his socks. He's like, what is this? I was like, Cat brought it down for you. It's like, come collect your prize. So she, the female cat, she would bring his socks all the way downstairs. Got to the point, he's moved out since then, and she would start to bring, we even bought her
Dish towels.
Yeah, she'll bring dish towels downstairs.
Little
What did she bring the other day?
blankets. Oh, so we were laid in bed and we heard her because we know when she's doing it because she sounds like a herd of elephants coming down the stairs, first of all, and then she'll start this noise. And it was really loud. Well, we get up. It's a beach towel.
She brought a whole beach towel from upstairs. She only made it halfway, but still.
Yeah, because it's so big, but it was a beach towel. And I'm like, that's something big.
you can hear it, you know.
Running in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And she just wants to acknowledge. And if you acknowledge her, she's really nice to you the next day.
Yeah, we learned that if you say, "Oh, thank you so much," she'll bring you more. So now we're just. I told her, I said, we need to set up a camera that's always like, you know, motion sensing, but they know it's there and it's not us with a phone. Because if it's you with a phone, they'll stop. They'll just, you know. But yeah, she'll bring us presents, and then of course we thank her, which, you know, who knows. But cats are super smart. This one's weird. This one's we were told that
He doesn't like our dog.
Yeah, well, he's scared of the dog in front of us.
Yeah,
We think he's
loves on
friends.
his collar.
Yeah, we think they're friends. Like as soon as we leave the house, we're pretty sure they snuggle up. You know,
When
they're
Cobain
probably.
goes outside, he sits there at the door and waits for him to come back in.
Yep. And he'll meow. Now he's kind of finicky. You know, cats have their own little weird things. This one, he will. We got him some wet food, and of course, instead of eating the wet food, what does he do? He licks the liquid out.
And he will somehow he'll move the food around, and he'll get all the liquid, and then over a few hours he'll eat the food. But all the liquid's gone, and our other cat won't touch
That's
it.
bizarre.
It's, you know, that reminds me, I got to tell you this one. I don't know if I ever told you this. We had a guy when I worked, I was 18, 19 years old. I was at Wendy's. Wendy's was my first job. And I had a guy there. Now, I still remember the price of a number one, which was what did Wendy's have? It's not the Whopper. That's Burger King. Single. The quarter-pound single. So, yeah. So, Wendy's had the single. It was $4.65. And it was for the burger, the fries, and the drink. And, you know, they always wanted you to upsize it or whatever. That was back when it was, you know, they'd say Wendy's was biggie size. I don't remember. There was a phrase or slogan that McDonald's had, and I think Burger King had the same thing. And Wendy's would have the biggie size. Well, we had a guy that came in, and he was super particular. I'm pretty sure he was, we'll just leave it at special needs. He was able to drive, and you could tell there was something different. His name was Tom. And he would go in and he would order the exact same thing every single time. And he would eat it in the exact same manner. He would put the plate down. He would take the lid off of the drink. He'd set it down. He'd pick up the pick up the drink, set it back down, pick it up, set it back down, pick it up, set it back down. He'd take the hamburger. He would take all the lettuce off and make sure that there was 2 pieces of lettuce, 2 pieces of tomato, because that's all he ate on it, tomato and lettuce. And then he would put it all back together, and he would only eat it like it's almost like he had a clock, you know, like when you, I think when blind people eat, you have to tell them, hey, your mashed potatoes are at 6 o'clock, your steak is at 9 o'clock, you know, so it's reference to but I think he would eat like it was a clock, and he would go clockwise, and then he would eat the same thing. Doesn't matter. Every single time, exact same food, very kind of weird. You know,
He might have had OCD.
I don't know. He was
Obsessive compulsive disorder. Well, that's kind of sounds like the attributes of that.
Yeah.
Especially if he could drive.
Yeah, he was able to drive. We did know that. And I mean, we got to know his name. I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know his last name.
OCD, they're the ones who have perfect, and they'll move stuff until.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the rest of what I know about him, and I think you might change from OCD to something else.
Oh my
He would leave a solid mess in the bathroom that was not. It was meant for inside the toilet.
Oh, you told
it was,
me.
Yeah. He would. It's weird. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand.
Maybe he shouldn't have driven. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he should have driven. Have you ever met anybody like that? That's like, I mean, I'm sure there's
not to that extent.
right. Yeah. Do what?
Oh, I was gonna, when you were talking about skipping school, I was gonna ask Steve if you ever skipped school.
Oh yeah.
You know, same thing. I lived within sight of the school.
Yeah.
I skipped one time on a buddy of mine. We on a Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what was going on, but we skipped school. We go home downstairs watching TV. All of a sudden, the front door opens. My mom picked that afternoon to come home early.
Oh.
We had to turn the TV off and had to hide in the closet.
Oh,
and
geez.
so I said, I'd just soon been in school this afternoon.
Oh man. You couldn't have been like, oh, they had a. I would have. I don't know if I would have done it. I mean, you could have said,
My
hey,
mom
they
wouldn't
had a.
believe me.
Yeah, it didn't
My
matter.
mom, you couldn't psych her out. No.
Oh, geez, she knew everything.
She was not one of those my kid. She was never one of those. My kid never did anything wrong. No,
Yeah.
she didn't believe anything we told her. She's kind of like deal with the Russian. She trusts but verify.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That was a phrase. Reagan said that. Remember, it was it "Dore no provoye." It was trust but verify, and I've used that a few times. I use that on the
We use it
kids.
all the time.
Yeah. Did you ever skip school?
So yeah, of course I did. Why wouldn't I? The first time, I had actually just learned how to ride a bicycle, and it was a green one with the banana seat, and was told I had to ride the bus. I'm like, but I want to ride my bike, and they're like, no, it's too far. So I acted like I got on the bus. I hid behind a bush, so I knew my mom and dad left, and then I got on my bike. And I wound up going down a hill and running into a parked car.
Did you damage the bike or the car?
No, but I damaged myself.
Come home with a
So
with a
needless
bruise
to
or
say-
something? Oh, jeez. You get in trouble?
Huh?
You get in trouble?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you?
I was the kid who got my butt whooped. I wasn't the kid that, no, I got my butt whooped.
Yeah.
I got grounded. Not that it worked.
Yeah. And you never got in trouble, Steve. You said you were hiding in the closet. Did you?
I actually got away. Yeah, I got away that time.
You got away?
I was one of those guys. I was president of the FBLA.
Mm-hmm.
I was in choir. Mm-hmm. I was president of the CYO, Catholic Youth Organization.
Right.
Friends of mine would say, if you'll say you're going, my mom will let me go.
Okay.
But their parents didn't know me really.
Right. Oh, geez. Rainbow, what do you brought up that you would get in trouble, and boy, times sure have changed.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even you can't even yell at your kid now. You can't look at him
think
wrong.
that you want to whip your child's butt silently in your brain because
Yeah.
someone's knocking on the door.
Kids, and you grew up with if you were misbehaving, you got did you get a switch? Did you have to pick your own switch?
At school, even in high school,
I did.
they give you a choice. You get 3 days or 3 licks.
Yeah.
And they had a big paddle, wooden paddle, and you got and you took your choice.
Now, did this paddle have holes in it to make it go faster?
No, the one no. They matter of fact, I remember they would tell us the principal's got an electric paddle,
Electric paddle.
and that's what they used to scare. That's what the older kids would scare the younger kid. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they also told us there was an elevator.
Oh, okay.
There was no elevator.
Yeah, there's no. That's like a prank to tell on somebody. Have you ever? You like pranks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever have a favorite prank that you pulled on somebody, or someone pulled on you?
I pulled so many over the years.
Yeah.
That's not even funny. But it's always funny if you think something the spur of the moment.
Yeah.
It hits, and a lot of times it's so funny. The reactions can be so hilarious.
We had there was a place that I worked at. It was called American Winding. We made guitar strings, and it was actually a subsidiary of Dean Markley. So I used to make guitar strings for Dean Markley, and these machines it's basically like a lathe, and you have 2 lathes in an L shape, and you would work on, say, if you're on the inside of the L, you would have your lathe on your left, and basically there's a little thing that would hook, and what I did is I did what's called the cover wire, and you're taking the core wire, which has the ball end on it, which that's the end that goes in your on the one end of the guitar, and then the other end is just the bare wire. And I would take the ball end and I put it on this little hook thing, put it in a chuck that would tighten it. I'd take the cover wire, wrap it around it, and give it a yank and pull off the little tail, hit the start button, and I'd walk over to the right side of the L, and I'd work on that machine. By the time I finished this one to get going, this one would be done. So it's, you're constantly working back and forth. With those spools, the spools of the cover wire would have stickers to keep the wire from unraveling. The very tail end of it, it would have a sticker holding it so that obviously it wouldn't unravel, and that would come from the factory. Well, we had a supervisor that would just walk around, and all he did was numbers. He had a clipboard. He was like, okay, machine 16 and 17 did 400 this hour, and machine 18 and 19 did 200, and whatever. And that's all he did, is he would walk around. I don't remember who started this, but one of us started the prank of taking those stickers and seeing if we could put it on his back. We had probably, at one point, we had like 25 or 30 of those stickers all over his back. And some of them were making his shirt like crunch up. And I'm like, how does he not feel it? I mean, I know he's not hearing it. You can't hear anything because it's loud machines and everything. And we would take these stickers, and we figured out that if you curl the sticker and you barely have it on your finger, when you go up to him, and a lot of it is, what do they call that? When you, there's a word I'm trying to think. When you're social engineering. It's when you're tricking the person by talking to them, making them think you're doing something else, and you're actually putting a sticker on their back. And so we did that, and that was one of the pranks that we pulled on him. But the drawback to that, if you could imagine a floor, a big factory, and there's probably 40 or 50 of these machines. So if there's 40 machines, there's 20 workers because there's 2 machines per person. Once you see one person start sticking that sticker on the boss's back, if somebody sticks one on somebody else's back, everybody starts doing this with their back, and they start reaching. And then once one person sees one, if I saw somebody else do it, I would go, oh yeah, I better not have a sticker on my back. And so that would cause, and it would be a, what's that, waterfall cascade effect. Everybody would be doing this. And then the boss finally figured out it was him. Oh man, he was mad. He was like, why are you guys doing, it's just, we're just having fun, fun little pranks like that. I love doing that. What about you?
Being younger.
Yeah, that's what we do when we're younger. We do dumb stuff.
I used to prank a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do we prank the kids with? We've pranked the kids. You prank your kids?
Oh, absolutely.
I know we pranked it. Yeah, we pranked them a lot.
Yeah.
I can't remember. That's like you. It's hard to remember what we did.
I told you about the worst lie I ever told my kids. Did I tell you that? I think I've told.
I don't think so.
Oh, this is a doozy, and I'm sorry, folks, if I've told you this already. I think I told them the first time on our first episode, but I'll tell it again. It's not long. So Rainbow and I were in Hawaii, and we're at a stoplight, and my son Matthew is behind me. Rainbow's in the passenger seat. I'm driving. Blake's in the back passenger side. And we're at a stoplight at basically the Navy Exchange. It's, you've been to Oahu, so I don't know if you're familiar with that area, but there was let me think of the name. The Seabees, the Navy,
yes,
like special guys. So they have their own huge American flag. And my son Matthew, they're about 7 or 8?
7 or 8. I think they might have been 8. Yeah.
8 years old. So they're young, not quite fully knowledgeable of the world, but they're pretty smart. They're capable of understanding moderately complex things. Right. And Matthew's in the back seat, and he says, "Dad, who unravels the flag when it gets wrapped around the flagpole?" And for some reason, this is just the nature of me. I decided to completely lie. And Rainbow looked at me, and I just told Matthew, I said, "Well, son, somebody has to call the Pearl Harbor Weather Control Station, tell them to change the direction of the wind, but if they don't change it back right away, all the sailboats that are just outside the island will get lost at sea forever." And he just looked, and you could hear the gears clicking. He was like, "Well, yeah, if the wind, how are they going to get back?" And I don't know how sailboats work, so I'm just, I just said that. And I think it was like later on that day, I finally told him, I was like, "No, it's just the wind. It just goes back. It's nobody does anything."
I don't think he did. I think you let that.
I think I let that one.
Yeah, but I'm looking at him going, what are you doing? Because we're trying to teach our children not to lie.
Yeah. Dad's the bad influence. Dads are usually the not necessarily bad influence, but we will be a little bit more risque. We're gonna teach the kids, hey, look, instead of holding the bottle and putting the bottle rocket in it, just hold the bottle rocket. That's us dads. We'll tell them, hey, look, you can beat that fuse. You can throw that firecracker at the last second. Oh, yeah,
Bad
definitely.
influences.
We definitely play tricks.
Yes.
Have fun though.
One of the things that we used to do in college, in the dormitories, we found you could take 2 pennies, put between the door and the frame of the door, and drive it in there, and you could actually, it would wedge the door shut. You couldn't open the door to your own room.
Oh wow, I never even thought of that.
And so we'd wait for a guy that we knew had a date,
Yeah.
and we would wedge him in there and make him stay for like 15 minutes,
Nice.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's got to be awkward. Was he inside? You locked him in or
Yeah, he'd be
locked
in
him
the
out?
room.
Oh, he'd be in.
the room trying to go out to the date. Yeah. And you couldn't really wedge anybody out of the room.
Oh, okay.
You could only wedge him in the room.
Oh man, that's bad.
That's hilarious.
And of course, this is before cell phone stuff. And then if you really
Right.
want to mess with the guy, you called him so he couldn't call his date.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad. That's
funny.
diabolical. That's pretty good. I like that. That's good.
Funny.
Oh man.
I don't think I have any crazy stories like that.
Yeah.
They're probably worse.
That is. Wow. How long have we been going?
Hour 42 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. This is a long one, folks. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about?
No. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I'm ready to jump in on anything.
Well,
No, it's kind of what you do.
yeah, that's what we're doing. Hey, this is fun though.
Kind of took over. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. We talked about pranks. We talked about what is it? Not spirits, but paranormal. We talked about that. Talked about our religion a little bit, about how helping people. Man, we went through a lot of stuff today. That was fun. Steve, thank you for coming out.
I appreciate you having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, all right. Well, folks, what's our email address? Contact us at theloudertales.com. Let us know. Give us a story. We'd love to read it. We'll if it's good, we'll read it on the air. And I love hearing stuff. Tell us about some pranks that you've either had pulled on you or you pulled on someone else, or interesting stories. I would love to hear some paranormal stories. Tell us about anything that you've had happen to you, whether it's something moved when it shouldn't have moved, or you had somebody telling you to go home. That's pretty intense right there. And that'd
Just thoughts.
be thoughts on the
Yeah.
ad, or not on the ad, but on the whole thing. Let us know.
Did you space out there for a minute, Tim?
Yeah, spaced out a little bit. All right, guys. Well, I said I got to say a dad joke, and I was able to work in a couple fancy words there for you. And if you have a superhero ability that's unusual besides the old standard, I'd like to fly, I'd like X-ray vision, I'd like to read minds, travel instantaneously, give us an email. So tell us what you think is a unique super ability. Steve wants to be able to have bullets bounce off of him. How'd you word it? It was not invincibility.
Invulnerability.
Invulnerability. That's almost like your heart can't be broken too.
Yeah.
Don't know about that.
Careful what you wish for,
But
Steve.
I'm not somebody grabbing and squeezing anyway.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for. You might end up getting it. That's a real thing. You never know. And Rainbow, what was yours? What was your
Sound of silence.
The sound of silence. All right. Well, on that, folks, we're gonna wrap things up here. Thanks for coming out, Steve. This was
Appreciate you having
awesome.
me. Thank you.
All right, guys.
We actually can hear this time.
Yeah.
No technical difficulties.
Right on, folks.
Just got solved.
All right.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good week, and we will talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. and thanks for listening to the Louder Tales podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.